do I actually need scales? And the answer is not as simple, but I'll try to respond as best as I can. So back then, when I wanted to expand from my pentatonic playing to something more advanced, more interesting, I thought about, okay, I need scales, right? So I immediately went into major scales and then modes and so on. And what I was doing was trying to memorize as many shapes for scales as possible. The problem with that, for me at least, was that it was very difficult to memorize, first of all, and then I could not possibly apply them in a context. So I would try to improvise on major scale or Dorian and so on. The only thing I could play was just the scale, up and down. Not very interesting. So today I'll try to share with you a slightly different approach to that, a slightly different perspective. So if you think about it, when I play any major scale, really, what I'm going through is a sequence of notes. For example, if I'm playing whatever, C major scale, right? Easy enough. If I keep practicing like this, the only thing that I'm learning is a sequence, and then when I improvise, I will play those notes right, something like that. The problem is that when you play any scale, really, the notes don't always have the same meaning and the same power in the same direction. If you just play the scale up and down, you're not going to get any of that. So what I usually do is I try to go from triads. So what is the triad that lies underneath the scale, and how can I start from that and then add all the other notes, right? So in this case, what I usually tend to do is, okay, so learning C triad. So now I have 1, I have 3, and I have 5. Root, third, and fifth of the scale. Good. Now, every single note that I can add to this, I can connect then with triad. Of course, I need to practice triads a lot first to see them. But the point is, if this is 1, this is 2. And then I have 3, and then I have 5. So I can start with that. 1, 2, 3, 5 is a triad plus the 2. What is this, by the way? It's part of pentatonic of C major, for example, right? And then what I can do is, okay, half step from my root, I have the 7th. So there you go. 7, 1, 2, 3, 5. And then what I can do is add the 4th. The 4th is half step from the 3. So I have 7, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Right? So see that now I'm giving context to the notes of my scale. It's not just a sequence now, is attached to my basic form that is a major triad. So when I practice these little patterns, I can now do, for example, 2, 1, 7, 1, 3, 5, 4, 3, 5. Sounds already like a melody, because I'm not thinking about the scale as a sequence, but the triad plus single notes attached. So just to expand a little bit on this concept, very quickly, is like, okay, but how about Dorian? A lot of people come in and they're like, I want to learn Dorian, right? And I'm like, okay, Dorian, yeah, I know it's the second mode of the major scale. So let's say we are in C. Now I can play D minor Dorian, but the notes are the same of C. So they get stuck in there because they're like, it always sounds like I'm playing C major, right? And the only thing that I can think about is actually C major, right? So they just basically start the scale from D and they're like, this doesn't sound like nothing. And I'm like, yeah, of course, because the approach to this has to be the same. The first question that I ask myself is, what is the underlying triad, and what is the special sound about this mode, for example, right? So going back to this is my D, string 5, fret 5, right? And I do know that the underlying triad for Dorian is a D minor triad. So first of all, I want to see that. Okay, now I have my D minor triad, D minor shape. And now I can ask myself, okay, what is the special note, the special sound for Dorian? The answer is the major 6. So now I start from my triad and I just simply add that sound to my triad. So I do 1, minor 3, 5, 5, 6, you can play the 6 here or here. And then again, my triad is easy enough, 5, 6. Now this is a Dorian sound, and I can try, instead of improvising on, I can simply improvise using the important notes of the triad first, right? So I can do a little exercise like this. Now that, hopefully, sounded a little bit more like a Dorian. So, to my point, when we approach scales, we need to think about, I have 7 notes, that's a lot of notes, right? So can I reduce that scale into 3 notes at first, and then add an extra one, and then improvise with that? If you think about it, if I have the triad plus 1 sound, I have 4 sounds out of 7. So it's pretty much 60% of, well, is it 60%? I don't know. It's kind of 60% of what a major scale is, or Dorian is. And I always love to start from that point, so I can really kind of feel the sound of the scale. I can improvise, and is obviously, for me at least, more satisfaction to improvise that way, because I can feel the sound, I can control my rhythm with very simple shapes, and I feel that when I then get on a backing track or playing with a band and the Dorian sound come, I have a very strong foundation. I can start with that and then expand, obviously, with the other notes of the scale. So this is a very short video, but I hope it was useful. If you want to know more about this is the way I teach modes and scales and improvisation. There's a free community that I have on School. The link is in the description here, so if you just click on that, you're gonna get to my free, completely free community on School, where I share more material like this one.